The elevator door slid open with a soft chime, revealing a vast marble foyer lined with art pieces that likely cost more than her entire year's salary. Monica adjusted the strap of her cleaning kit bag over her shoulder and stepped into the penthouse of the Blackstone estate, her first assignment of the day. It was silent, almost eerily so. She could hear the hum of the air conditioning, the muffled tick of a luxury wall clock, and her own footsteps as she crossed the glistening floors. The apartment was sleek and ultra-modern, a cold kind of luxury. She moved to the storage closet and began pulling out supplies, careful not to make noise, until a thunderous voice shattered the stillness. "Where is my Rolex?" The sound of those 4 words echoed through the penthouse like a gavel slamming down in a courtroom. Monica turned her head to see Richard Blackstone, the Millionaire hedge fund CEO, standing near the kitchen island, shirt slightly unbuttoned, face red, eyes narrowed. He stormed forward, holding his phone in one hand. "Do you have any idea what you've just done?" he barked. Monica, a 32-year-old Afro-Caribbean woman with 5 years of spotless service under elite cleaning, froze for a second. "Excuse me, sir?" "My Submariner," he growled. $50,000 Rolex. I put it on the nightstand this morning. Now it's gone. You were the only person here," she blinked. "I haven't even stepped into the bedroom, Mr. Blackstone. I just arrived 10 minutes ago. Check the logs." His voice dropped an octave, more menacing now. "You expect me to believe that?" Her posture straightened. "Yes, because it's the truth." The tension in the room thickened. Monica's heart pounded in her chest, but her voice stayed calm. She had faced worse than this. "If you'd like, I can open my purse right now, or we can check the building's security cameras." Richard scoffed. "People like you always think they can walk in and take what doesn't belong to them." Monica's jaw clenched, but she said nothing. Just then, a piercing cry echoed from the back bedroom, high-pitched, desperate. A baby. Richard didn't even turn his head. The nanny's supposed to handle that. Monica couldn't help it. Her feet moved, before her brain gave permission. She strode down the hallway and opened the nursery door. What she saw made her gasp. A tiny boy, no older than 6 months, lay in a crib, his face red from crying, his diaper soaked, skin blotchy with irritation. No nanny in sight. She approached, gently. "Hey there, sweetheart." The baby's cries softened the moment she reached into the crib. She changed his diaper, held him close, and began humming softly. Within a minute, he was calm. Eyes fluttered. A small hand gripped the collar of her shirt, like he never wanted to let go. Behind her, a voice barked again. "What the hell are you doing? Put my son down." Richard stood in the doorway, eyes wild. Monica turned slowly, keeping the baby nestled in her arms. "He was in distress. There was no one around. I couldn't just ignore him." "Give him to me." She hesitated, but handed the child over. Instantly, the boy began wailing again, louder, harsher. Richard bounced him awkwardly, trying to soothe him. "Why won't he stop?" Monica spoke gently. "Babies feel what we feel. He's sensing your anger." Richard looked at her as if she'd grown 2 heads. "Are you implying I'm a bad father?" "No, just that he calmed with me because I was calm." For a moment, his gaze softened. Then the suspicion returned, harder now. "Convenient, isn't it? You steal my watch and now you're the baby whisperer, playing both roles." Monica took a deep breath. "I'm not playing anything, but you've crossed a line." "Oh yeah? What are you gonna do?" She walked to the door, cleaning supplies, still untouched. "You want to call the police? Please do. I'll sit here and wait. In fact, I suggest you do. Let's have them check the security footage. It'll show everything." Richard hesitated, just slightly, enough for Monica to catch it. That moment told her everything. He wasn't sure where the watch really was, and worse, he knew he might be wrong, but his ego wouldn't let him stop. Back in the main room, Monica calmly began packing up her supplies. "I'll be informing my agency that I won't return to this client." Richard followed, angry but uncertain. "You're quitting? You think that clears you?" "No, I think that protects me," he sneered. "Maybe I should post this on social media. Let other people know about you." Monica turned, eyes sharp. "You mean warn them about an innocent woman who helped your neglected child and was falsely accused?" "You know what I meant." "Yes, I do, and I've heard it all before. But this time I recorded everything." His face paled slightly. "Your words, your threats, all on my phone. I've been recording for months." He laughed nervously. "You're bluffing. I guess we'll find out. But here's the difference, Mr. Blackstone. I've got truth. You've got assumptions." And then came the line that broke him. "Maybe you should check under your car. Men like you often drop things and blame women like me." With that, she left the penthouse. Just as the door clicked shut behind her, Richard's phone vibrated. First, a missed call from his wife, then a message from his lawyer. "Meeting cancelled. Urgent situation with your name attached. Call me." Another message followed seconds later. "Do you know a Monica Santos?" He swallowed hard, because deep down he already knew this wasn't over, it was just beginning. The sun glared against the windshield as Monica stepped into her aging Toyota Corolla, gripping the steering wheel with knuckles white from tension, not fear but focus. She didn't drive away immediately. Instead, she reached into her glove compartment, pulled out a slim black phone and pressed a single speed dial. "Carmen, it's me." Her sister's voice came through on speaker. "Moni, you sound tight. I need you to do something." "Remember that private investigation course I took before I came to the US?" Carmen gasped. "Girl, please don't tell me. Just find Detective Alvarez. Tell him Monica Santos needs a favor. And yes, it's serious." Carmen paused. "He always said you were his smartest student. What happened?" Monica's eyes narrowed. "A man happened. The kind who thinks money erases dignity. The kind who lies and threatens and thinks he's untouchable." A moment of silence passed before Carmen answered, "Got it. I'll message you in 30. Monica hung up, took a breath and started the car. Back inside the Blackstone penthouse, Richard stood at the window, watching the tiny car disappear down the street. The baby, his son, had finally stopped crying after the nanny returned, but the silence now felt suffocating. His phone buzzed again. "You've got a problem." It was his lawyer, Julian Finch. "What now?" Richard barked. "Two things. First, we just got an anonymous tip sent to a journalist at Channel 7. A story's coming. Racial discrimination, wrongful accusation, recorded audio." Richard swallowed. "That cleaner? She can't..." "She has." "Second, a man named Detective Alvarez submitted a formal request for your building's surveillance footage. It's legal. He has clearance." Richard's hands trembled. The Rolex, the accusation, the baby crying in another room while he raged. All of it had been recorded. 30 minutes later, Monica sat at a small cafe 2 blocks from the agency. She wasn't scheduled for another cleaning until tomorrow, and she knew she wouldn't be returning to the company. Detective Alvarez called back. His deep voice brought comfort. "Monica Santos. Been years. But I still remember that final exam of yours." She smiled for the first time that day. "Thank you for taking my call. What do you need?" "I want access to the building footage of the Blackstone penthouse, hallways, elevators, garage." "For what time frame?" "Last 24 hours. He accused me of theft, said I was the only one in the apartment." "You want to prove you didn't leave with the watch?" "I want to prove he dropped it himself," Alvarez whistled. "You really believe that?" "No," Monica said flatly. "I know it. I saw his panic. He was bluffing." "I'll have the footage within 2 hours," Alvarez promised. "And Monica?" "Yes. You're not just proving your innocence, you're building a case." She hung up and stared into her coffee. It wasn't just about clearing her name. It was about every woman who had ever been humiliated in silence. Meanwhile, Richard paced in his office. Thomas napped in the nursery. His phone vibrated again, this time with a social media alert. His own executive assistant had liked a post with the caption, "When black women are underestimated doesn't mean powerless. Justice for Monica." His heart thudded. He opened Instagram. There it was. A blurry screenshot of him pointing aggressively, with Monica standing calmly, arms crossed, baby crying in the background. He couldn't breathe. That image hadn't come from Monica. It had come from his own nanny, who had quietly filmed the exchange and uploaded it anonymously. At 3:47 p.m., Detective Alvarez called again. "I have the footage, and I think you're going to want to see this yourself." They met at a private investigation firm downtown. Monica watched quietly as Alvarez played the footage. 8:15 a.m. Richard gets out of his luxury SUV. 8:16 a.m. He drops something metallic under the car as he slams the door. 17 a.m. He doesn't notice. Walks away. 2 a.m. Monica arrives, checks in at the front desk, heads to the elevator. 34 p.m. Monica leaves. No bag, nothing in her hands. 1 p.m. Nanny returns looking distressed. Alvarez smiled. Clear as day. The Rolex. Fell in the garage, she never took it. Monica's throat tightened. Detective, she asked softly, can I request the full report with timestamps? You're building a case, aren't you? Yes, he leaned forward. Then let me help, I'll prepare the documents, but be careful. People like Blackstone don't go down quietly. By 5 p.m., Richard's company had started buzzing with rumors. 2 employees had reached out to HR about his treatment of domestic workers. A journalist from Channel 7 was outside the building asking for statements. At 5:41 p.m., the building's security manager walked into Richard's office holding a sealed evidence bag. Inside it, the Rolex watch, retrieved from under his own. Richard's face drained of color. I suggest you inform the police, the manager said. But the media already knows, he interrupted. And Mr. Blackstone, someone is asking questions about your previous lawsuits. Richard stood up too quickly, knocking over a chair. What lawsuits? The manager's expression didn't change. 3 racial discrimination suits, all settled privately. Seems they're no longer private. Richard slumped back down, dazed. The walls were closing in. That night, Monica returned home to her modest apartment, and for the first time in weeks, she slept deeply. She didn't need to fight to prove herself anymore. The evidence would speak for her. Her phone buzzed in the morning. It was Dr. Patricia Williams, a civil rights lawyer Monica had admired for years. Miss Santos, I read your case. The footage, the timeline, the audio, it's solid. But what caught my attention was how you handled yourself under pressure. Monica sat up in bed. We'd like to offer pro bono legal counsel, and I'd also like to nominate you for Civil Rights Employee of the Year. Monica could barely speak. I thank you. I didn't do it for awards. I know, that's what makes it even more powerful. At 9 a.m., Richard sat across from his board of directors. He'd begged for an emergency meeting to get ahead of the story. Instead, they confronted him. With something worse. We have 47 pages of audio transcripts, your voice, your words, we've reviewed the footage, and we're done protecting you. He looked around at faces that had once celebrated him. One board member folded her hands. Richard, this isn't cancel culture. This is consequence culture. Back in the city cafe, Monica opened a new email on her phone. Subject, Job Opportunity, Chen and Associates. Dear Ms. Santos, we've followed your story and your background as a licensed investigator. We'd like to invite you for an interview for a senior investigator role. Salary, $85,000 to start. Monica's eyes welled with tears. For years she had cleaned floors that gleamed with other people's reflections. Now she was finally seeing her own. The news broke at 7 p.m. sharp. A crisp voice on Channel 7 opened the broadcast. Tonight, exclusive audio and surveillance footage reveals a shocking case of racial discrimination and false accusation inside the penthouse of hedge fund mogul Richard Blackstone. The screen showed Monica, calm, holding baby Thomas. Then Richard, furious, accusing, yelling, the baby's cries, the nanny's absence. And finally, Monica's line that went instantly viral. Maybe you should check under your car. Men like you often drop things and blame women like me. Across the city, screens lit up. Social media exploded. She's a queen. I've never felt so satisfied watching justice. He tried to break her. She built herself stronger. By 7:30 p.m., Monica's name was trending nationwide. In his darkened penthouse, Richard sat with his head in his hands. His phone buzzed non-stop. Reporters, former clients, business partners, all wanting distance, all demanding answers. He finally answered a call from his soon-to-be ex-wife, Victoria. Her voice was like ice. I'm watching the news. Richard, I didn't... Stop, don't lie to me again. You called her a thief in front of your son on camera. She set me up. She saved our son, you idiot. There was a pause. I've spoken to my lawyer, she added. The divorce settlement is changing. I'm requesting 50% of everything, including your shares. No court will side with you now. Click. She was gone. 3 floors below, Monica stood on the rooftop of her apartment building, watching the stars. Her sister Carmen joined her, wrapping a shawl around her shoulders. You did it, Moni. Monica exhaled slowly. I didn't want to become a story. I just wanted to survive one. But you became a symbol. Monica shook her head. I became a warning to every man who thought they could get away with it. Carmen smiled. You're not done, are you? No. He tried to ruin my name. Now I make sure no one ever forgets his. The next morning, Monica walked into a conference room downtown filled with reporters. Dr. Patricia Williams stood beside her, confident and calm. She tapped the microphone. Today we are formally announcing a civil lawsuit against Mr. Richard Blackstone for defamation, emotional damages, and workplace discrimination. Gasps echoed. A reporter stood up. Miss Santos, are you doing this for money? Monica leaned into the mic, her voice steady. I'm doing this for every domestic worker who was ever humiliated and couldn't fight back. Cameras flashed, people clapped, the nation listened. 6 months later, the skyline of the city shimmered under the late afternoon sun as Monica Santos stepped into her corner office on the 23rd floor of Chen & Associates Investigative Group. Her view stretched across the city, touching the buildings she once cleaned. But she didn't look down on them. No, she looked through them, because she still remembered how it felt to walk in silent, unacknowledged, invisible. Now, she was the one making policy. Her assistant's voice buzzed through the intercom. Miss Santos, Channel 7 is here. They're ready for your interview. Monica took one final sip of her coffee, checked her reflection, confident, poised, powerful, and smiled. Send them in. Jennifer Walsh, the reporter who first aired Monica's story, walked in with her crew. You've become quite the public figure, Miss Santos, Jennifer joked. I'm still just Monica, she replied. But I do like the title Civil Rights Defender of the Year. They both laughed. Jennifer's cameraman signaled they were rolling. Monica, the reporter began, in just 6 months, you've gone from being a domestic cleaner to one of the most sought-after investigators in the state. What does that transformation feel like? Monica took a breath. It feels earned, she continued, voice clear but warm. I didn't ask to be treated differently. I just asked to be treated fairly. And when that didn't happen, when I was accused, humiliated, and threatened, I didn't fight back with rage. I fought with the truth. Jennifer nodded. And the truth changed everything, Monica added gently. The truth always finds its way. Sometimes it just needs a little help. Across the city, in a rundown apartment in a forgotten corner of town, Richard Blackstone watched the same interview on a flickering television. His world, once filled with opulence, was now reduced to 4 chipped walls, a broken recliner, and a stack of unopened bills. The collapse had been total. His company, gone. His fortune, lost. His reputation, destroyed. His wife, divorced him, took half. His son, visits twice a month, supervised. He didn't blame the media. He didn't even blame Monica. He blamed the mirror, the one he couldn't look into anymore. On the screen, Monica's voice continued. Justice isn't revenge, she said. Justice is truth made visible. Those words stung, not because they were harsh, but because they were right. 3 days later, Monica visited her old neighborhood for a community event. She stood on a small stage in front of dozens of domestic workers, city activists, and young students. Her foundation, the Santos Initiative, had just funded the first legal aid clinic for cleaners and caregivers who faced discrimination. Monica looked out at the crowd, faces full of hope. She remembered walking these same streets with her head down. Now her name was on banners, her story in textbooks. Her voice carried weight. She told them, "You are not invisible, you are not powerless, and you are not alone." One student asked from the front row, "Miss Santos, did you ever think of taking revenge on the man who tried to ruin your life?" The crowd went silent. Monica smiled softly. No, I never wanted revenge. I wanted change. She looked toward the young girl. And the best revenge is becoming someone he never thought I could be. That same week, Monica received an unexpected call. It was Dr. Patricia Williams. "Monica, you won't believe this. Blackstone applied for a job at our firm, a junior consulting role." Monica blinked. "You're kidding." "Not at all." The recruiter called me, stunned. "Apparently, he listed you as a reference." Monica laughed deeply for the first time in a while. "A reference?" Dr. Williams chuckled. "He claimed he learned a valuable lesson from you, said he now respects your professionalism." Monica took a moment to respond. "That's poetic." She hung up the phone and sat in silence for a moment, her fingers resting on her desk. Respect, huh? Funny what people learn when they lose everything. That night, Monica scrolled through LinkedIn. A message caught her eye. It was from a young lawyer in Detroit. "Miss Santos, your story gave me strength when I wanted to quit. I just got promoted to senior counsel today. Thank you for standing tall when so many of us felt small." Monica smiled as tears quietly welled in her eyes. This was it. This was the real victory. Not the job, not the award, not the headlines, but the ripple effect. The lives changed because she dared to tell the truth and never back down. Meanwhile, across town, Richard walked through a grocery store pushing a half-broken shopping cart. A child stared up at him and whispered to his father, "Daddy, isn't that the man on the news?" Richard turned away quickly, his face burning. Even here, among frozen meals and flickering lights, his legacy followed him. He had become a case study in downfall, college lectures on power and prejudice. Used his story as a warning. His name, once on skyscrapers, now evoked shame. And every time Monica's face appeared on television, he was reminded, he didn't just lose a watch, he lost everything worth keeping. 6 months later, Monica stood on stage at a national civil rights conference. Cameras flashed, leaders applauded, former domestic workers wiped away tears. As she accepted her award, she spoke her final truth. "I wasn't just fighting for myself, I was fighting for my younger self. The one who walked into strangers' homes hoping just to make it through. The day without being insulted or accused. I was fighting for every mother, every immigrant, every woman who ever had to swallow her dignity to survive. And now I fight so that they don't have to anymore." The room erupted in applause. That night, as the city settled under a blanket of stars, Monica stood by her window holding a warm cup of tea. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. No threats, no attacks, just 3 simple words. "I'm sorry." She stared at it, then deleted it, because some apologies don't need replies, they need silence. She had gone to clean. Instead, she cleared her name. She had been accused, underestimated, insulted, but she never broke. She rose. And by doing so, she made others rise with her. Justice wasn't loud, it was quiet, precise, unstoppable, and it had a name: Monica Santos.